Well, a big triple-double for you, Anthony, although it was maybe that block of the Bridges three that was the biggest play of the game as they furiously tried to come back here. What did it take to just hold on, get off of this road trip 4-2?
Yeah, man, the last game on a road trip is always the toughest. We lost control of the game. They took control in the fourth quarter. The only way to get back in it is threes and fouls, and we were doing both. Got your alarm. Brandon Miller, Bridges played out of his mind, shooting the ball, extremely well tonight. Brandon Miller as well, and our defensive intensity kind of slipped in that fourth quarter. It actually started at the end of the third, the last couple minutes of the third, when they went on a 6-0 run and cut it to 14. We lost that quarter by 2, so 28-26. So we got to do a better job of closing out games, but nonetheless, we're happy that we got the win. It was ugly, but we're happy that we got it.
Your game has been, pretty complete for a number of years now, but the growth in the passing seems to have really gone up this season. You tie your career high with 11 assists. Defenses are trapping a lot more. You're just moving the ball to the right spaces. How has that evolved for you this season?
Teams are doubling me a lot more, and I had to do a better job of just passing out a double team, making the right reads. So just being comfortable with that, making the right reads. I'm comfortable in every facet of the game and just reading what the defense gives me. And I think our guys are doing a great job of making shots for me, obviously, but I think that's the biggest growth that I had, going into the season, just being able to play make.
Last one for you. It sounds like, 3 to 4 weeks before we find out more about Jared Vanderbilt. In the meantime, Rui Hachimura has entered the starting lineup. You guys have won 3 in a row. What can you take out of this trip to try and get yourself in a stronger position as you approach the playoffs?
Not telling how long Vando's going to be out. Next man up mentality. We preached that all year. We're still missing Cam, Gabe. So it's nothing new to it. We've been dealing with this all year, but I think we're starting to find a way to play without some of the guys. Guys are stepping up in their absence. So we're just doing a good job of playing complete team basketball, and it's a great road trip for us. Even though we dropped some that we thought we should have won. But we end the road trip 4-2. Now we got 2 big ones at home against Denver and New Orleans, and try to take this energy and this carryover from this road trip back home.
Are you a plane sleeper or no?
Not really.
Nah, me neither. That's fine.
I'll be up.
All right, man. So long in the NBA, a team gets up big, other team makes a push. What does it take to just kind of snuff that out and get the win?
Just get timely stops and execute offensively, which we did, and made our free throws when they had to foul.
After Atlanta, obviously the 2 losses in a row, heading into 2 tough buildings, and then this game, just the end of a long trip. What do you feel like you saw over these 3 games that you can take back to California?
We just got to, these games are behind us, but it was a successful trip. For us to go 4-2 on this trip, and deal with some adversity early on in the trip, deal with some injuries early on in the trip, to be able to finish the trip like we did is a success. But you move on when you get home and move on to that next stage. You don't worry about what you did in the past.
We've seen plenty of groups with Rui next to you and AD, that front line, have success. What is it about him, and kind of how does that affect things at all with him in the starting lineup now?
Very big. We have a lot of length, a lot of athleticism. Rui works well with us, and we just try to find him, especially when he's running out, when he has early seals in the post or whatever the case may be, mismatches. So he works well with us.
When something happens in the league, like what happened in Philadelphia, where Joel Embiid is dominating and they're towards the top of the East, and then he goes down and he's going to be out indefinitely. In what ways does that cause you to pause and maybe think about your own situation, how fragile it is to have the health of stars, and wanting to maximize the time while you have it?
I haven't thought about it. Obviously, I sent my tweet out in regards to the whole situation, and that's how I felt about it. But other than that, I don't really have too much a thought about it. But I gave my point, how I felt about the situation, and I meant it.
Talked about Brandon Miller's game earlier this morning. It looks like you guys exchanged a moment after the game. What was said there?
He's here for a reason. Just continue to get better and better, and love what I see from him. At this stage in his career, so he'll continue to get better and better.
Like you said, you guys went 4-2 on this trip. The next time you guys will play will be after the trade deadline. Do you feel like, as a team, you guys have proven or shown why you guys should continue to, invest in this current group?
This is what we have, so there's nothing else to talk about.
You know, teams obviously play up, like, whenever the Lakers come to town, like Charlotte wants to play their best basketball. What does it bring out of you guys, like, as a unit, or you specifically?
I love to compete, so, teams are always going to get up to play us. They want to compete versus us. They want to show what they're capable of, and usually their home fans, is very excited to, when we come into town, they extra loud and supportive. So, it doesn't matter. We just love to compete, and we execute late in this game, even when they made a run, and it was good to get a roll win.
One of the different games that AD had a big passing night. We were back at home, and you talked about it, kind of joked about it, but we're serious. And you've been talking about double teams. What specifically has he gotten so much better at, like those reads, and how clear is it to you?
It's just that simple. Teams are trying to take the ball out of his hands because he's so dynamic in the post and the low post, and they're trying to force him to pass. And it's all about growth mindset. He's a student of the game. He watched the film, watched the clips. Not quite sure what you can do now. And we all have to be in the right position. To be in the right position, to have his back, to have the outlet passes when he is being doubled, and resulted tonight another triple-double. I think that's his second this season, correct?
Second, yeah. Do you remember when teams first started to blitz you? And I guess it probably happened pretty early, but when you got down to the post more as your career evolved, and like how long it took you to kind of, hone that skill?
To be honest, I've been having to throw out of double teams in the post since high school. So.
You were a tough matchup in high school.
I was okay. I had a couple mismatches sometimes.
Do you like the makeup of this roster? Do you think this roster is good enough to win a championship, or does there need to be changes made?
It's not a question for me. I love who we have in the locker room, and that's all I worry about. Listen, I can't stand your ass. So like I don't get caught up in that. We're gonna go out and prepare ourselves. Every single night, no matter what it is, no matter who's out on the team, no matter what. So it's my job, and it's AD's job as two captains to make sure we keep the main thing, and the main focus is now Thursday's game at home, and we look forward to that matchup.
Last question. All right, thank you.
On this road trip in a pretty strange way. Start with, obviously what you guys did in Golden State, lose to, there's drama.
Drama?
Yeah, there's tweets, there's different things that people don't know what anything means, and then you guys go into Boston, you win shorthanded, and you close off with 2 more wins. What did this trip tell you about this group, if anything?
When we put our minds to it, we can beat any team in this league. We lost 2 we feel like we should have won. That we won 2 that the people in Nevada thought we should lose. So, when we buckle down defensively and play the right way, play Laker basketball, then we're a tough team to beat. And, we're always going to fight. Obviously, we don't like how this one, slipped away from us, but, we ended up getting it done. But, very confident in this group and what we were able to do when we put our minds to it.
In the first half, it seemed like that was you guys had quote-unquote Laker basketball. There were stops, transition, highlights. When you guys hit that level, how fun is it?
Super fun. Guys are making shots, we playing the right way, swinging the basketball, getting stops. It's who we are, it's who we want our identity to be. Don't always seem to happen that way. Like kind of that, end of the third, a couple minutes left in the third, and most of the fourth quarter. But when we're playing freely and fun and playing with pace, sharing the basketball, then it's fun to watch on the sidelines, from the bench, but also fun to be on the court and be a part of it.
Has the amount of passing, playmaking, assists that you've collected over, I guess, the last month or so, has that been an evolvement of this team and its offense, and does that point towards a direction that you guys could use in the final third of the season as you build towards the postseason?
Yeah, knowing that guys are going to, double team me a lot. It's my job to play make out of the post. Our guys are doing a good job of cutting and moving off the basketball, and I just got to make those reads. But we get a lot of good things, when the ball goes in the post, and not just me, but Bron as well, and even D'Lo at times, Rui. And when guys start to double team, which is usually going to be usually just me and Bron, it's our job to make the right reads, and the other guys got a job to make the shots. I'm just trying to make the right reads, make the right plays, and now going double, then that's when I try to go look to score.
What's the process like? When you're watching film and you're, I guess, evaluating like how guys are doubling you or where they come from. What's the process like when you actually implement it and you're just seeing, I guess, passing lanes or reading a couple months ago from you?
I just need to know one thing. Each team kind of has a scheme where they like to double, whether it's on a catch, on a dribble, from the feeder, or they're like coming from the baseline. Once I know that, then I know where everybody's going to be, and I just make the reads from there.
On Thursday, the team is going to unveil a Kobe statue outside.
We play that day, right?
You do? Yeah. Play Denver after. Is there an iconic image or pose or something in your mind when you think of Kobe like that is?
That would be the statue?
Yeah.
He has so many. I don't know. It's kind of tough to kind of say. I know they don't have they wouldn't do too much, for the statue, but I'm curious to see what it'll be. You kind of see the when they have it was talking. Well, it was just talks, but it wasn't a real talk from the league about changing the logo, and they had his picture or his silhouette up there. So maybe it's that. I don't know. Maybe it's a turnaround. Maybe it's I don't know. But
knowing what he meant to you, what's that going to feel like being a part of this organization the day they do that?
It's obviously going to mean a lot. Meant a lot to me. Big brother, mentor. Kind of started, I guess, my career alongside him, in the Olympics, kind of just being under his wing, teaching me the game, teaching me about life and everything. And so it'll be, it'll be a cool moment, obviously to see that, but then, kind of, reliving it again in a sense. So I don't know. Emotions would be high for me for sure, but it'll be a cool thing for sure that kind of have the statue outside.
AD, how did that relationship evolve from Team USA to your early success in the league, and then up to the point where you're a Laker? Yeah, with Kobe.
A lot. It was a stretch where he had this thing where he was sending guys tweets. Texts like MVP this year or defensive player this year. He was doing that, and one year he didn't text me, and I was like, what the hell? So I texted him, what about me? And then he gave me a list of things. But then just come full circle, playing for the Lakers, an organization where he played for 20 years, and legacy here, and then being able to put on a Laker uniform and kind of just be that in a sense. It's no better feeling.
Thanks, AD.
Thank you.
I was going to ask about Rui and the new starting lineup. It felt like he was able to get a lot of mismatches against smaller defenders just because they're on size at you and LeBron. So with that new front line, what kind of challenges does it pose for defenses with physicality and size?
Yeah, Rui's 6'8". We can post him up. He's a good rebounder, good finisher. And we try to expose that, the bigger guys probably going to be on, like you say, me and Bron, and then they even try to put, they're usually a good defender who's usually a bigger guy, D'Lo in their yard, so Rui's usually left with a smaller guy, and we just try to take advantage of that and have him, post up or duck in or off the glass and kind of get him going.
Thanks, AD.
Atlanta loss, a couple of tough games ahead. How do you feel like this team has evolved from that point through these 3 straight wins?
I think, just our approach has been, what's getting us through these games. We're getting off to solid starts. And our bench is piggybacking off the starts we get. And third quarters have been good. I think that gives us a good chance. Solid road trip, though. Solid.
Last 2 games, Rui's been in the starting lineup. Just what dynamic do you guys have as a group now, and where do you think you can build with that group as you head home?
We all know what Rui's capable of. So, in that starting lineup, we might need just continuing to do the little things and other things, and then what we know he's capable of will flow naturally. And he's been doing great, continuing to offensive rebound and get open shots in the pockets that are open throughout the flow of the game. And he's been well. He's been playing well.
D'Lo, in these last 3 weeks, as trade rumors tend to intensify, you've played some of the best basketball of your season. How have you been able to do that? And then what will the next 48 hours be in terms of, do you get away from stuff even more so in the build of the deadline? How do you kind of handle it?
I don't care at all. Show up to work. That's it.
Kind of piggybacking on that, not just to ask the same question a different way, but maybe this is a more interesting question. The last 6 weeks since the tailbone injury, you played really well. You can control what you do playing, right? So does that give you any sort of peace of mind as you move forward?
I can't control that my contract makes sense to be traded either. So, just play. Can't control that. Once again, I don't care at all.
Just because you brought it up, what happened this summer? How did it come to be that your contract was able to be traded? Because you would have had a tacit no trade agreement in your deal.
I just thought it made sense. Obviously, I've been here before. I played for the Lakers before, so I know what the requirements are to be successful here are. So if you're part of the future here, you'll be successful. If you're not, you'll get traded. And I've been traded before here. So my approach is just a little different. I really just genuinely, humbly don't care because I know I can't control it, 1. And 2, I just won't allow my mind to go there. I like to focus on this. And you guys see I've been focusing on basketball and not comments and what's trending on social. So.
D'Lo, feels like you and Austin have done a really good job of trading off. One night might be one guy passing a little bit more, one night might be one guy scoring a little bit more, and just kind of finding that balance and that rhythm. How have you guys found that since returning to the starting lineup kind of together? And I know you get asked about him a lot, but just that synergy that you have in terms of, when it's maybe his night offensively or your night offensively, and just that balance.
I think it's just what the game allows. Bron usually has the best defender on him. AD usually has the second best defender on him. And then I might have the third. And then there's Trae Young guarding Austin Reeves, and it's we know that's a mismatch right there, respectfully. So we're going to attack it, and you've seen him come alive in that game. And it could go either way. AD and Bron might just hold it down, and they may not even need that from us. So just recognizing what the game's offering and attacking it in that sense.
D'Lo, for Jalen Hood-Schifino, just in your time being around him, whether it be at practice, whatever, just what have you seen from him that makes you believe he can be successful long term?
Just his professionalism, being a young player, getting drafted into a situation like this. You may take things for granted or you might overlook some of the positives that you have while you're in it, but it's a lot you can learn from this. A lot of players, a lot of you got some Hall of Famers around here, too, that you can just kind of pick brains of. And I think he's just been super professional. He's young, way more professional than I was, and I feel like I was pretty successful. So for him to just continue to work and keep that positive attitude, I think that'll allow him to be as good as he wants to be in this league. Yep.
Thank you. This one out and ultimately did pull it out, so 6 games, 12 days, to go 4-2 on this trip, we're thankful.
Well, to that point you just made, after the back-to-back losses, leaving Atlanta, going into tough buildings in Boston, New York, I expect you would take 4-2, on this trip. And what do you feel like you built, if anything, as you head home now?
Just that trust in ourselves, that if adversity presents itself, we can fight through it. We won't pack up our tent and go home. Like we're in it for the fight. I think it brought what we were able to do coming out of those back-to-back losses in Houston, Atlanta, and what we were able to do with our two captains out in Boston was nothing short of amazing. And I just think everyone looking at that and the way we watched the film and the way we came together to, do the same thing in New York, and then, ultimately did become successful there in that game as well. We want to finish the trip off right, but just our mental focus, our passion, guys just competing at the highest level and doing it for one another.
Darvin, I know we've talked about trying to, see the big picture, and not live and die with the highs and the lows of stuff. You guys are about to have to make big picture decisions. The trade deadline on Thursday. What did this road trip tell you, and anything about what you have currently? Does any of the other information that you've gotten, whether it be Vanderbilt's injury or any of these different things, do you think that alters kind of how you guys approach things Thursday?
Well, I just think, a lot of that stuff is beyond our control in terms of playing the what-if game. What if guys were healthy? What if you had this person on your team instead of that person? I've been saying it all year. We've been inconsistent, but what we have in our locker room currently, we feel like can really compete at a high level. And when we're right, and being right means we're defensive focused, we're organized offensively, and everybody to a man and collectively is competing. Just nothing else. Not worrying about mistakes, not worrying about touches, not worrying about, rotations. It's just worrying about doing my part to get a win. And I think we've seen that over the last 3 games, and saw it in Golden State Saturday double overtime game. When we play at that level, we have more than enough in our locker room. And obviously, it's just a fact. You can't get your feelings involved. It's just a fact, and the nature of the business is to try to get better, win, and if you can. That's just it. It's the business of basketball. But as far as where we are now, what we were able to do to finish out this trip, there's no doubt in my mind that we got pieces that will do great things for us and play at a high level for us.
So tough times make tough people is a cliche, but cliches become cliches because they hold conventional wisdom. How confident are you that what you've been through as a team have made you guys better for it? And is there any concern that the tough times could be a symptom of what you guys are as a group, and just you don't have everything together as a group?
I mean, that's a great question, Dave. The biggest thing is a lot of our tough times were injuries, and are injuries, and Vando, him being out, then back in, and now out again. Gabe, someone who we thought would be a pillar within our rotation, 5 games. Cam, in and out. Rui had been in and out, trying to manage Bron and A, based on their wear and tear. And those guys have an active injury. So, I mean, it's been tough to develop continuity and cohesiveness. But, again, I think the beautiful thing that Vando did, the way he played in Boston before he went down and the way he had been playing, is a representation of how we want to approach each and every game and approach our business as a culture. Just going all out and laying it all on the line, trying to be successful. And I think the guys saw that. We highlighted it in film. We can't control who's available, who's this, who's that, and it is what it is. That's going to take care of itself. But what we can control is how when we wake up, blessed enough to God to have air in our bodies, and we come to work, and we have to come ready to be the best versions of ourselves and not block out all the noise, whatever's saying what. And it's not fantasy basketball. The only thing you have is the reality that you're in the midst of. With your teammates, your coaches, that group right there is just currently constructed. All we can do is try to extract the most positive production that we can out of this group until further notice.
Last two.
Darvin, Rui had a couple of deep seals and post-ups against smaller defenders, also had that key offensive rebound late. What have you seen since he's become a starter over the last couple of games and just the collective size and physicality of that front line of him, LeBron, and AD?
You know, he knows he has to do a little bit of everything, the little things, be a better rebounder, be a better defender. Those guys are going to look for him, so he's going to get opportunities everywhere, opportunities to post, quick seals, as you mentioned, play pick and roll as a screener, catch and shoot threes. There's times where the clock is going down and maybe something we wanted to run is falling apart. He can go get us a bucket or get a foul or all three, or both, I should say. He's just, his versatility comes through, and they know how to exploit his versatility. Both Bron, AD, D'Lo, AR. So it's a great group. The numbers reflected, you know, how well he does, especially with those two beside him. Those two being Bron and AD. And he's learning and he's flourishing.
AD, with the processing of some of these passes, just seems like he's doing it in a way he just didn't earlier in the season. Just what have you seen from him, I guess, behind the scenes to get to this level as a playmaker?
Watching the film, talking to his teammates, talking to his coaches. Again, just studying the game, being a student of the game. Watching film, see how people are double teaming him, the different schemes, whether they're blitzing from the nail, blitzing on catch, blitzing on dribble, on pass, I should say, or on dribble, doubling from the baseline. He's seen just about everything. And so just the film study, the breakdowns we go through, him being vocal, him being communicative in terms of what he's seeing and where he needs guys to be positioned so he can make the right reads. He's been doing all of the homework he needs to do, and so that's why you see the type of results you're getting, the positive results that we're all benefiting from.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.